of the world. We are anonymous.
Greetings to people in the world. Here is Anonymous Denmark. This message goes directly to EU citizens. In this message we want to elucidate how the Danish municipalities cheat with state refunds on fictional activations in job centers. The following message is from earlier employment in the system. We know the person and the person wish to be anonymous. In relation to this reimbursement, it has been the case for many years that the municipalities put citizens on a team that does not really exist, or citizens simply do not get it, and in that way, they have been refunded for activities that has not taken place. In some situations, one has been very conscious of it. In others it is just the way we do here. Some higher up in the system must necessarily have discovered this and wanted to stop it, as in January 2016. Drastically changed the possibilities of withdrawing a home refund as a municipality. The law came into force on the 16th of January. The silent reform was called it, but had to be phased in as the housing tax was changed, thus closing the mouth of the few municipalities that broke down housing tax has not been as promised. And it is surprising that we do not see KL or the individual municipalities break. Personally, I think that other, not necessarily published, agreements have been made as compensation for this. In this connection, I mean that you should focus on the cases before the 1st of January 2016, when the refund then drove to just the activities of the individual citizen. For a period back in 2006 I was employed by what is called other actor who held these courses, thus giving the municipality the opportunity to withdraw a refund. Our course series was real and we were a few who helped some citizens, but the municipality paid for the layout of the workshop with all fixtures including computers, and gave a grant for the rent. Think it was via the evening school law, and paid 1,500 kr per week per course teacher regardless of attendance. From the bill I came to see, unjustified, I could see that we should have driven 2 teams for 16 weeks at 22/24 participants. The team that actually drove was my team of 16 coaches, 2 of whom never met. So in that period, I saw it from the outside. As OSB with the title of a job consultant I have been sitting several times with citizens who were sent on strange courses that were not relevant to that particular citizen. And if I called it and made it clear, I was asked to blend me out. When making the quiet reform the 16th of January, people walked very quietly with the public. And I think that the fact that you made this reform shows that you were very well aware that the system of reimbursement was pilgrimage. Subsequent and as a consequence of this reform, it can be seen that virtually all municipalities have closed their internal testing sites, centers of competence, workshops, etc., since there is no refund for that kind. Really many mentors, who also gave reimbursement earlier, have been fired or have been given other tasks. Many internal teams, such as physical training, mindfulness, the new variety a couple of years ago, and, for example, Stavgang are also closed during 2016/2017, no longer give a refund. I have not been publicly employed after 2016 and have not subscribed to the new legislation in the area, so I do not know what it is all about now to make a refund home now, but I know that you have been very aware of, for example, pulling people on resource courses to follow each 6-8 week, regardless of what citizen is doing so. Do not you have to do it with a refund? The following text is from the National Reform Programme 2012 for Denmark from the EU page 33. 3. Country-specific recommendations. New chapter. In June 2011, Denmark received the Council's opinion on Denmark's economic policy in the context of the Convergence Programme and the National Reform Programme for 2011. Denmark received a total of 5 recommendations. Cf. Table 3.1. Table 3.1 The country-specific recommendations. The Council recommends that Denmark take measures in 2011 to 2012 to 1. Implement fiscal consolidation measures in 2011, 2012 and 2013 and ensure annual fiscal effort of 0.5% of GDP for the period 2011 to 2013 as planned and corrected the excessive loss by 2013 in accordance with the Council recommendation under the excessive deficit procedure. Then, as planned, ensure an appropriate adjustment towards the medium-term objective. Speed up the reduction of the government deficit if the economic conditions prove to be better than expected at the moment. Strengthen spending management by adopting binding multi-annual spending ceilings for municipalities, regions and states that are in line with the overall medium-term general budget targets. 2, 3, 4, 5 Take further steps to increase the long-term supply of labor in order to strengthen employment and the sustainability of public finances. By implementing the recently decided reform of early retirement schemes, by reforming early retirement and by increasing to target subsidy schemes, Flex Job Award, against the most vulnerable groups. Speed up implementation of reforms to improve the quality of education, reduce drop rates, especially in the vocational education sector, and increase the number of apprenticeships. Take steps to remove barriers to competition, especially in bourgeois service and the retail sector, by reviewing planning legislation and opening up procurement in municipalities and regions, while supporting the ongoing stabilization of the real estate market after the latest price correction. Consider preventive efforts to strengthen the medium-term stability of the housing market and the financial system, including a review of the functioning of the mortgage credit system and property tax system. The recommendations are largely in line with the objectives of government policy. Cf. the governmental basis. Danish initiatives have already begun, and more will be addressed in the areas affected by the recommendations. Amongst other things, a number of reforms have been implemented and planned to ensure sustainable public finances and a greater range of work. Article 3. Everyone has the right to life, freedom and personal safety. Article 4. No one may be held in slavery or bondage. Slavery and slave trade in all forms shall be prohibited. Article 5. No one must be subjected to torture or cruel, inhuman or negligent treatment or punishment. Article 7. Everyone is equal to the law and is equally entitled to the protection of the law without discrimination. Everyone has the right to equal protection against any discrimination in violation of this declaration and against any incitement to such discrimination. Article 17. Everyone has the right to own property both alone and in partnership with others. Nobody must arbitrarily deprive his properties. Article 23. Everyone has the right to work, free choice of employment, fair and favorable working conditions and protection against unemployment. Everyone has the right to equal pay for equal work. Anyone who works has the right to a fair and favorable remuneration, which ensures him and his family a human being and, if necessary, other social protection measures. Everyone has the right to form and join trade unions for the protection of their interests. Article 25. Everyone has the right to such living as is sufficient for the health and well-being of his and his family, including for food, clothing, housing and medical care and the necessary social benefits and the right to security in case of unemployment, illness, incapacity, widowhood, old age or other loss of profitability under circumstances that are not self-inflicted. Mothers and children are entitled to special care and help. This message from Anonymous Denmark should be seen as information to all EU citizens. In Denmark, 6 citizens get into meaningless walking poor projects because of the torture of the job center, like their abuse of human beings. This message should be sent around the world. Denmark was once a welfare state with social security networks. Anonymous Denmark will encourage all EU citizens to rebel before their hidden agenda becomes a reality. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us.